Well, welcome to Beggy Live and this little update on the QCAA senior schooling process and the next generation or iteration of tertiary entrance in Queensland schools. This is just my summary of the latest, most up-to-date information from the recent Senior Leaders Seminar in at the Convention Centre. The first thing to be aware of is to know that there's a number of things that are pretty standard. What do we know already? Well, first, obviously, that the Year 9 cohort, the current Year 9 cohort, will be the first cohort to go through. That each senior subject is 4 units, so therefore 4 semesters across the 2 years, very similar to what we have now. Assessment occurs in Unit 3 and 4 only, so essentially Year 12. Again, similar to what we have now, Year 11 formative, Year 12 summative. The assessment consists of 4 items. 3 of those are internal items and 1 of those is an external items. This external item is worth 25% of the overall result. In saying that though, in the maths and sciences, it will be 50% of the overall result, but still only 1 external exam, not 4 25s with 2 externals. That's interesting, and I think something we make assumptions about that it would be 2. Students, of course, will achieve an ATAR rather than an OP. I suppose the next thing we want to think about is, well, what else do we know? Well, the QCAA will be responsible for assessment, moderation and certification, the QCE. However, QTAC will be responsible for the calculation and dissemination of the ATAR score. That's new. Up until this point, it was always been the QCAA that has been responsible for both of those things. The ATAR is going to be the best 5 subjects that a student studies, and in being the best 5 subjects, we'll probably keep to the tradition of electing 6 and then 1 dropping off. English is mandatory, but is not compulsory in the calculation of the ATAR. In the New South Wales system, it is compulsory in the calculation of the ATAR. There will be inter-subject scaling. I'll talk a little bit about that later, and there'll be more information as we go through the year. The QCE is what students study for. One of those Queensland funny things is that we always talk about kids getting an OP. Well, no, they get a QCE. In New South Wales, they get a HSC. In Victoria, they get a VCE. And in Queensland, they get a QCE. The ATAR is an addendum to that. QCAA Student Connect will continue and will be a really important electronic platform for kids to start monitoring their progress. So what's undecided? Well, the first, and perhaps for us at Southern Cross, most worrying thing is that marine science, aquatic practice, home economics and graphics are all still yet to be approved and ratified as subjects in the Queensland curriculum. Hopefully, that'll all be decided in the next 2 weeks. Subjects will be weighted according to inter-subject scaling, but we don't know the process yet. We don't know if a student will be able to do a straddled course, so looking at doing VET and doing OP or doing QCAA ATAR subjects. We do that at the moment. We don't know if we can still do that in the future. And the final one, and it's a big one, how will composite classes operate, particularly in the first year in 2018? But there is a bigger question about whether or not they're going to in fact occur at all. No longer is there a Year A and a Year B cycle. There's just 4 units, which are linear. So that'll be challenging. I think with any new system, it's really important to understand the fundamentals. And these are a few of the fundamentals as have been explained to us so far. Assessment accreditation occurs before students complete the assessment. This is a really big change. And to be honest, it's a logical change. At the moment, all of our accreditation of our units, of our assessment, etc., occurs after the students have completed it. So if there's an issue with regards to the quality of the assessment, the quality of the assessment tools, the marking schedule, the marking schemas and what students have been given, well, we just have to grin and bear that, so to speak. All endorsement checks are now completed before assessment. The endorsement checks are random samples collected by the QCAA. There's no longer the package that is sent into them. In the checking and verification of teacher judgment, assessment items are random sampled, not student folios. So therefore, as example, 4 scripts may be randomly sampled from assessment 1 across the various levels of achievement. 3 scripts may be from Assessment 2 across the levels, and 6 scripts perhaps from Assessment 3 prior to the external exam. Each of these scripts could be a single individual, so not a package, a single individual. So therefore, it's possible, particularly in large subjects, that as per this example, 13 different students across 3 different assessment pieces and varying levels of achievements will be sampled and verified. A big change, but all in fairness, and I think really good for the kids. One of the key things about this process is about strengthening school-based assessment. The first way to do that is the accreditation of reviewers. There will be structured, professionally recognised and certified training pathways that are designed to enhance the capacity of reviewers and teachers to implement assessment and moderation processes. Secondly is around the endorsement of assessment. Every assessment piece given to a student in Year 11 and 12 must be analysed and endorsed. It's a process that ensures that the school-devised assessment instruments meet the requirements of the current syllabus and provide opportunities for students to demonstrate the syllabus objectives and standards before they are used in schools. And then finally, the third element is the calibration of judgments. And that's that random sampling process I spoke of a moment ago. Fine-tuning reviewer and teacher judgments to ensure and support the consistent application of standards. That's the core of this new system. What I'd like to talk about now is looking at the implementation timeline, because as teachers, this is what we all need to know. You can see 2016 there. The students involved are in Year 9. What's happening right now? The redevelopment of the syllabus and professional engagement. Things like this right now, asking you to review the syllabuses. Also occurring now is the trial syllabuses, trials of subjects in schools, looking at the processes and getting them right. We're also looking at results and reporting, so they are looking at a new system being defined and systems established within ICT, and I'll talk a little bit about those later as well. Looking at that slide, you can then see the flow through professional development, school readiness, and then the process of implementation through 11 and 12. So the fundamentals of change I've touched on already. The first one is what the current process is. Well, the first thing is that we have a low definition syllabus. We have school developed work programs that come from that syllabus. We have monitoring after assessment has occurred. We have verification after assessment occurs. We have comparability through state panels after assessment occurs. We have a QCS test that also assists in that scaling and comparability opportunities. And then, of course, confirmation. The way that then all works is then certification, and we move to tertiary entrance and scaling. That's the current process. The new process is as follows. Number 1, a prescriptive syllabus document which includes the course content and the assessment requirements. There are no longer any need for work programs. You teach from the syllabus. The endorsement phase you can see there, where the teacher develops assessments, QCAA endorses, students complete, and then teachers grade, and then confirmation of those grades, etc., through calibrated assessors, selecting random samples, and the teacher judgment confirmation process. We finally then go through to ratification and also the external assessment process. What's the role of individual teachers then? Well, that can be seen by the highlighted elements. Number 1, you teach from the syllabus, not from a work program. Secondly, the endorsement phase is very, very important. And very shortly, I'll show you that process. The calibration of assessors. Teachers, it's about getting involved and being assessors, being confirmers, being markers of this process, which I might add you get paid to do. There's also then the teacher judgments that are confirmed. Within the external assessment role, there's roles for teachers, writing teams, scrutiny panels, and of course marking in that assessment. Again, you get paid. The school devised assessment has got 2 key areas that really have to be looked at. One is the accreditation process for endorsement, and the second is the calibration of judgment. They're realistically our professional challenges through this period and for the future. As you can see there, and I've already mentioned it, but how do our departmental and leadership structures change? It's pretty simple. No work programs. The syllabus sets the work program. There's no reinterpreting of that syllabus. Panels and panelists are gone. Syllabus writing, syllabus review, and marking people, whom are all paid, are involved in that process. So there's still a role for teachers. It's an opportunity to develop true expertise or interested but committed involvement. Most of what we do will be online support. There's some great portal opportunities, and you can look at the slide there to give you an idea about what the QCAA portal will look like and what it will do. Everything that we do in terms of the accreditation process, the endorsement process, will occur online. Our student assessment, when randomly sampled, will be submitted electronically for endorsement. School leaders will have a dashboard. What does the endorsement process look like? Well, I'd like to show you. This is a sample prototype of the online panel. You can see the head of English there, John Lewis, on the 12th of November, submitted his first set of assessment, his first assessment. The QCAA read that, and it was not endorsed. The verifiers did not endorse the program. You'll notice there's a checklist. They've given feedback to John Lewis, the head of English, for him to adjust his program. He's then resubmitted item number 1, and QCAA has endorsed. On the 14th of November, you'll notice that internal assessment item 2 was submitted and it was endorsed, and internal assessment 3 has been submitted, and we're looking to see whether or not that's endorsed. But at that stage, you'll notice that each of those, there's feedback provided in the endorsement process. Systems will be in place to help, and they are going to come to a guide as we move through this process. We won't be on our own. You can see subject portals, what will be there. Syllabus redevelopment and publication, what will be there for you. The endorsement process, I've just gone through that. The uploading of school-based assessment documents, 3 assessments per subjects, 57 subjects, 450 schools. There's a lot of stuff to do. But there'll then be an internal assessment bank that we can learn from each other and make sure across the state things are going well. The final part of this is to look at the syllabus development process. Where are we now and how are we moving forward? It's a 3-draft process. Draft 1, which is what we're in now with the first 32, is the what, the curriculum. We feed back, and then what comes back to us is draft 2. On draft 2, it's the how we do it, the assessment element to it. So there'll be the curriculum revisited and established from the feedback from draft 1, and then the assessment. Draft 3 then is the how to. It's the complete package, which includes the pedagogy. QCAA like to refer to this as the lolly model. I really like it. If you've got a lolly and it's wrapped up, and you pull one end and you pull the other end, when you bring them apart, the lolly moves. When you manipulate the 2 ends, the middle gyrates. If you modify curriculum on one side and you modify assessment on the other, then therefore pedagogy has to change in the middle as we pull that lolly open. And you can see that graphically in the next one. There's the lolly. The what is draft 1. The how well is draft 2. The how to is once the package all comes together. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Syllabus resources into drafts, drafts to consultations, consultations to advice, and then we go back around and go the process again. After draft 3, we look for QCAA board approval. So what's the next step? Well, this is the next step for us. Looking at assessment literacy, getting involved in the endorsement trials, moderation and calibration judgments, syllabus redevelopment, teaching and learning paradigms, and external assessment trials. I hope it's helped. Please come and see me anytime you want some information on this. Thanks very much.